look a little veiny. Got some veins popping out. What? Oh, it reset. So let me redo that spill. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Looking sexy as hell as usual. See if we can get that goal. The goal started, I think. All right. See what we get in here. Did we set this to public? I don't see anybody yet. Let me double check. I got a bad habit of doing that. No, it's set to public. I keep thinking it's not. We'll give it a minute. Get some people in here. See what's going on. I'm a little veiny this morning. What do you guys think? Got veins popping out. It's an off day from training. I'm just going to stay in and work. Yesterday was very productive day, though. Hopefully, I get another one like that today. I would be really happy if this week I got the same amount of overall business stuff accomplished as last week. All right, I'd be really happy. In terms of clients, followers, everything. Be nice. Man, yeah, definitely got veins this morning. See what's happening tomorrow when we train. And no, the scale's not down. The scale's up a couple pounds today. Probably ate too much peanut butter and scale that back. Make sure I keep the carbs really low. It'll be back tomorrow. It'll be where I want it. Just fast this morning. Get some cardio done here in a bit. Cook some more wings. You guys see the wings I put up? Not wings, drumsticks. I just put up 5 pounds of Cajun drumsticks. It's always on Facebook and Instagram. People are always like, what does your diet look like? I'm like, I show my grocery shopping, my cooking, a lot of my meals. I show it all on social media. You guys got to just check it out, man. You got to check it out. But really the key of how I've gotten leaner is just fasting and high protein. That's honestly the entirety of it. I do all my training fasted these days. I keep my protein really high, like at least 300 grams a day. Problem solved. Like you will lose body fat doing those things eventually. For most people, it's all I did. And it works. And it doesn't violate calories in, calories out. You utilize it to your advantage, guys. You just use it and make the most of it. All right. We definitely got people watching. We don't have comments yet. It'll happen. These get lively sometimes, but there we go. Do you think 100 milligrams of NPP used to get some joint? Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? There'll be enough to get some, extra synovial fluid. All right. I always, in the past, found Androlone good for that. But like I said, these days, none of that's in there. All right. I think I'm doing decent, though, for just a replacement dose of test. What do you think, Jefferson? We still got all these veins. All right. And I think that's where people get lost. They watch too many bodybuilders who do too many wet stacks, and then when they go to their replacement dose or cruise, they shrink, and then everyone's like, what happened? It's like they had fake muscle. Dave Palumbo swears DECA causes joint relief, but not NPP. Not sure why he would think this. I don't know either. I have no idea. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't have a lot of experience around NPP. DECA's fine. DECA's fine. It takes that edge off too. Dudes are worried about DECA dick. It's like, man, I'm worried about not getting test plus DHT dick. I mean, you guys know how nice it is to be content with 30 minutes of sex a day. Actually say, hey, that's good enough. Come on now. The guys hating on DECA dick. No, it's guys crash their E2 is the problem they have, actually. Crash their estrogen. Therein lay the issue. But over to your point, I don't know why he thinks that, Jefferson. If we get a few more likes in here, guys, the more you guys engage, the more it starts trickling into people's feeds. Would you consider a client? Not only considered, I've done this like, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. You do know client Antonio only paid me to peak him for meets, right? A lot of times people didn't know that. They were always like, Antonio was never a full-time client. He usually hired me 12 weeks out from meets. Yes, I handle their water cuts. It's part of meat preparation. Depends on how aggressive they're willing to go, though. Problem is when they mess it up and they do anything different than what I tell them, they're screwed. Like if someone wants a 20-pound water cut and they disregard any part of my instructions, they can forget that. They're like, oh, I thought it was just a suggestion. It's like, no, dude, I gave you an exact prescription with 0 deviation, and you only lost 14 pounds of water instead of 21. You didn't listen. That's the only thing I tell people on the water cuts. Like if they have a number they're aiming for and it's anything beyond 10 pounds, they can't play. Like it has to be done. When I say your last sip of water is at 11:30, it doesn't mean 11:35. Dudes are goofy. Yeah, no, that definitely handles water cuts. Like I said, you've seen me do 23 pounds before. Oh, good. I just got the message from that guy. All right, cool. Got a diet accountability client. This thing popped up. He needed me to give him his stats. I think that'll be a fun little side thing too. Because again, that came up. I was doing that for a couple of my clients, and one of them thought I should do it as a full-time thing. I don't usually go to church testicular. I do pray every morning. For me, that's kind of how I do my religious experience. It's just like if I just start the day off that way, I'm probably in a good spot. That's for me. That's how I handle it, bro. I usually get up. I usually pray first thing in the morning just for some guidance and just run my day, man. I'm not super religious though. If Westside Methodist to stay peaked all the time to be able to enter any event, why would anyone even consider training peaks? Because then you got to deal with all the Westside methods. My modem is flashing. I hope I do not lose connection. Come on. Are you good? Stabilize. There you go. All right, good. That modem was flashing for a moment. But then you've got to do all the West Side stuff. And keep in mind, there's still minor peaks. But they're also rotating those other lifts. I mean, to be fair, though, when I've run, you need to have all the bars. You've got to deal with the full gamut of it. You do have to be prepared to max every week. And not everyone wants to. I don't want to run conjugate all the time. I enjoy my classic lifts to some extent. Although, in a way, I'm probably a little conjugate-ish anyway, aren't I, with my squats? Because notice I kind of rotated around. Now let's do this bar. Let's do bar. Let's do high bar. Let's do low bar. But I don't think that hurts your squatting ability at all. I got to where, at one time, I think I had hit it was like 600 on the Cambridge bar, 530 on the safety bar. I did a 550 high bar at one point in there when I was up at the 240 though. We'll see how this goes down at closer to 200 as I'm getting older. I'm going to get up into the fives on all that stuff. I want to get that safety bar back to 500 plus with abs. Is lean bulking really that much better? The strength progress is slow because you're not getting fat leverages, Jason. Doesn't mean you're gaining more muscle from the strength gain. Just because you can move more weight with levers doesn't mean you're getting more. Doesn't mean you're gaining more muscle from it. You're not getting more stimulus at the fiber level. Does that make sense? So yeah, of course your strength goes up when you gain fat. We've studied in the lab why fat makes certain exercises go up, but it's not because of the muscle. So of course, But then you're not having to cut. You make gains all the time. Slow bulk, lean bulk, and then slow cut, and then you never stop making gains. That's the idea. Hell, you can recomp. I mean, if you're not 9% body fat, you can recomp just fine also at any point you want. Props to you, Blaha, by your guidance. People say I look like a power lifter, though I still have a long way to go. Awesome, man. Keep moving forward, brother. I mean, that's really all there is to it. Consistency. You like it. Here's the advice I would give you there. You know, you're like, I have a long way to go. But the time is going to pass anyways, right? So you're going to get there. You have to always remember that too. Just keep putting in the work. No, I would not recomp at 5'10", 164 necessarily. Not if you're lean already. Now, if you're 15% body fat, yes, you could just recomp. The problem is you reach a certain point where, like, if you get down to like 9% body fat or something, like you got deep abs, you can see all your obliques, you can see that lower back coming in, you're not recomping anymore. You're just not. You're going to need to lean bulk. Is it ever a viable meet strategy? Only plan 2 attempts per event unless a third is absolutely necessary. That's what I did at my last meet. I went in with my shoulder not doing well, though, and my bench was way down, so my bench sucked. But that was literally my plan. So I walked in, did my opener on the squat to get on the board. I took a state record by like 2 pounds. I did a 1 kilo state record on my second attempt, and I just took a knee. I didn't bother with knee sleeves. I knew I could get it without it. So it was a token attempt. Got my Texas state record. And then I did my bench. And then for deadlift, same thing. I didn't warm up on the deadlift at all. I just went out because I was too busy yapping my mouth and I forgot to warm up. And so they're like, oh man, they're about to call you. I'm like, what? Oh, hold on. I was trying to get my stupid socks on before I timed out. So I ran out and grabbed my opener. And then my second attempt was a state record. And then I went all out for a third because I'm like, you know what? Let's see if we can get a big total. And then I missed the lockout. So I went up, I broke a state record, but if you saw it, it looked like an RDL. I just set it down softly on the floor. So I did a 20 kilo jump and then I missed it at the knee. But I mean, I really only did 2 real attempts there. So, I mean, it's totally doable. Is 5'10", 164, 32.5 inch waist lean bulk that I'd lean bulk it from there personally. Just straight lean gains, like I gain a pound a month, dude. If I were you in that situation with that height, weight, and waist. I mean, I assume you have abs at this point. Lean bulk it up. Jefferson, technically you're recomping every living moment of your life, but not to an appreciable degree unless plotted out. And that's the point, Jefferson. What I'm telling guys is, yeah, when you're at a certain point, like if you're 15% body fat, right? Let's say you're not on gear. You're 180, 15% body fat. You could recomp for a year straight. Right? You could end up a year from then being 12 or 13% body fat at the same body weight. Why do you think J.M. Blakely's PRs are on open powerlifting for the squat and deadlift for only 55 lifts each? Those are token lifts so that he could get on the board for full power for the bench. I don't have abs, I also didn't have abs at 140. I know what your body fat is, Jason Hyde, but maybe that's the issue. Somebody's just lean bulk it up, I guess, because it's still with those stats. I'd lean bulk, and then maybe when you get to 170 or something, you could recomp a little to get the abs. I feel like I don't want to see a dude stay at 160 pounds at 5'10", who's talking about getting big. Do you only drink CM? I rarely have anything but black coffee before noon, and it's just black coffee. Like they're literally, can you see it without spilling it? Just black coffee. I don't know, man. They must have done some bumpers. Yeah, they have thin plates for that, Jefferson. No, they have little thin kettle braided plates for that stuff. You know, and he could just pull it off the floor. I mean, it does seem silly. I don't know why he just didn't have him put a plate on. I don't know. So there's a goal to gain as much strength as possible, because if you gain weight slowly, it's all lean. I mean, Jason, do you really think you're going to gain more than a pound of muscle in a month anyways? So that's hardly nothing. That's maximum muscle growth. Are most of your comps on 4-day and 3-day? Joe, yes, but I mean, like right now, dude, I got a dude on a 5-day split. One of my new clients is on a 5-day, but I took him from 6. And mainly I need him to gain weight. He is peeled, and he's trying to get, his lifts up. He's trying to get to a 400 squat and a 500 deadlift as a fighter. And he's like 8% body fat. So I'm like, dude, we need to cut this 6-day. Let's take you down to 5. But he's extremely conditioned. So he's a BJJ guy. But I've got him on 5, but he's not rolling like Joshua does 2 hours a day. So he rolls 4 times a week. But Joe, generally most are on 4 or 3, and it depends on schedule. So if you look at the 4 vloggers we've got, 2 of them are on 3, 2 of them are on 4. So it depends on what we're doing. I'm still a novice though. Yeah, Jason, do a pound a month. You'll probably recomp then. All right, you're worried about not having abs. Do a pound a month as a novice. You may recomp a small amount. So just run with it, dude. Run with it, brother. Trust me on this. You'll be much happier with those results. Do that for the next 6 months. Do a pound a month, get up to 170. Your body fat might go down a hair. Do a 3x5. Make sure you're doing some curls and stuff in there. Don't forget those curls for the girls. And you're a 3x5. First thing I would say to anyone, I'm like, can I run strong lifts? I'm like, add curls. All right. NH had a live stream yesterday. He's still ignoring you. Old Frenchie's going to ignore me. That's real funny though, isn't it? The dude keep in mind, those weren't just videos he made. He scripted those videos, edited those videos. He made 25 hours of documentaries about me. I was in his head 24/7. Yeah, I don't see the draw either. He's not strong. He doesn't know anything about training. He's a weirdo who doesn't bathe. It's his anime shtick. He draws in an incel crowd. That's his whole shtick, man. Yeah, his content's not good. Talks about Nietzsche. I mean, Nietzsche is a philosopher that really no one really followed. I did a paper on Nietzsche in college, by the way. So that's why I think it's hilarious. Did a long paper. So for my philosophy class, I chose him as my research project. So that's why I think it's hilarious that he does Nietzsche. And for those who don't know, yes, that is how it's said. So it's Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche. So I did a full paper on Thus Spake Zapata, or whatever it's called. His philosophies are weird. Why do all YouTubers suggest a big surplus? Mad at myself. Because they're giving bad advice, dude, or they're on tons of gear. I'm laughing though when it's like when his followers try to pretend he's bigger or even close to. I'm like, guys, just stop. We know my lifts versus his. Let's assume you can't picture scaling in your mind correctly. I weigh more than him. I'm leaner than him, and my lifts destroy his. Right? We know my lift's destroying his, and I have way more lean tissue. Just stop, guys. He's got a little bit of bicep. So what happens if I do more curls? That's it. Game over. I mean, Jesus Christ. I just laughed when he did the forearm thing. He was talking about he was proud of his forearms, and he wants to trash talk me. It's like, dude, you don't have forearms. You don't have calves. What are all these? What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. I think that he he was joking a fish called Wanda that Kevin Kline's character was dumb and tried to sound smart by constantly quoting Nietzsche, right? And of course, Nietzsche died of syphilis. So at least we know he got some stanky on his hang down. So that's something maybe one day NH can strive to achieve. One day his waifu give him the real thing. I don't know. Maybe he's going to put a mask cover on a girl when he finally gets it. I don't know. How does the waifu thing work? I don't really get it. Could someone explain this to me? Like, explain it to me like I'm stupid. You know, just saying. I've never. Why are guys jerking off to cartoons? I struggle to get my head around that. You know. I just don't get it. So, but you know, what do you do? All right. But back to your question with the big surplus, because that's been a tradition, Jason, but more and more data has come out. A lot of people, even great coaches, have been trying to tell everyone you don't have to do that. Now you've got studies looking at it going, yeah, when we're measuring it, it really doesn't cause any more muscle growth. Even small surplus, like what people you say, oh, a 10% surplus in the lab turns out to be mostly fat. It's just more fat gain. Like they literally find like a 50 calorie surplus seems to be enough to give you 100% of your possible muscle growth. And dudes are like, what? How do you even measure that? I know, right? It's like half an apple. And we know recomp is possible anyways in everybody. So for the most part, so just keep the surplus tiny. Do you think even pushing growth on insulin, a larger surplus doesn't cause? But here's the thing, is it really reaching that surplus? Because when you start dealing with the stuff that's happening with nutrient partitioning with the high dose growth hormone, we're getting to where you're also potentially dumping calories. It gets really nuanced when we get into these aggressive drug stacks, right? It gets really, really nuanced. And is that ever what any of us are going to be talking about or doing? I am never going to prescribe to one of my clients for them to ramp their growth hormone up to the point where it causes insulin resistance and then use insulin to push behind it. I mean, we're at a point where even my enhanced lifters, I'm not doing this. They need to go hire someone else. It's not that I don't know the science behind it or how to dose it. I am not killing my clients. I'm just not willing to advise them on that point because this no longer has their best interest in mind. And I don't care that they're like, but I want to be a monster. And I'm like, that's going to be a point where I, as a coach, am going to say no. And the same thing with putting out information, Jefferson, you know, because I fully understand the science behind how you use the insulin to push behind the growth hormone at that point and why it works. But man, I mean, you're burning the candle at both ends when you literally take the growth hormone up to that point to where you have that insulin resistance, but then it's just stripping through body fat. You're gaining no body fat. And then you use the insulin to push behind it and then use the growth hormone to stop all the fat gain is essentially what's happening. But I mean, you're talking, think about that of what this is doing to your body. Like this it's horrific. I mean, we might as well just go back to be alcoholics and stuff at this point, right? We might as well just be promoting people drink alcohol and also eat junk food if we're getting to this level of health choices. Whereas when I tell guys, if they're going to do gear, let's try to make it to 80 years old, you know. I don't know. Apparently, as long as you reach your TDE, you gain muscle on paper, you can gain muscle without gaining fat. Yeah. Well, a lot of the muscle growth and repair processes is calculated into your TDE. Well, so that's a big part of it. Why are there never any presses charged against coaches if clients drop dead on their protocols or even because these people are choosing to do these drugs of their own free will. These coaches are only advising them. But let's set aside the fact of, I guess that's what the market's going to demand, because in pro bodybuilding, they need to be so massive that someone's going to fill the void. So even if a bunch of coaches say, I'm not coaching this, I'm not advising this, someone will step up and do it. Supply and demand of the market. It is unfortunate. They probably do have legal waivers in place. I've only had one client doing growth with insulin ever, and I advised him against what he was doing, so he was doing it on his own. So, I've had a client running 2 grams of gear with 8 units of growth and then doing insulin with it. The dude looked ridiculous. Looked ridiculous. Even though he wasn't even a bodybuilder, he was a strength athlete. He could have probably got an IFBB pro card. We were just worried about his squat, bench, and deadlift. Do you think Greg Nuckols is a good? He's okay. There's issues with some of it, but he's generally, for lifting advice. Obviously, I wouldn't listen to anything that fat dude says about nutrition. But lifting, strength training, yeah, he's pretty solid. Have you ever had someone? Yeah, dude, I've had an IPF guy to talk gear use with me in person who competed in the IPF. Yeah, it does happen. But that's been about it. Most of these, I can tell you right now, Jefferson, I'm Blaha, the fake natty exposer. Do you really think any influencers who claim natty are going to come talk to me about their drug stack? I'm not just a regular bro. I am literally the fake natty slayer. I am the last person on the face of the earth any fake natural is going to come talk to about his drug stack who's an influencer. So it's kind of think through your question before you ask me if anyone's done that. I am not the person they're going to tell. That's like asking, that's literally like asking a drug kingpin who runs an interstate meth lab, has he ever gone and talked to the FBI or the DEA about it in a casual conversation? I'm going to go venture and say probably not. Yeah, you don't go tell the most famous fake natty slayer your drug stack when you market natural on social media. Probably not a good idea. All right. Just gonna throw that out there. If you do, you're really dumb. All right. I'm not saying a lot of these influencers are not really dumb. Realistically, the average coach we see online is not particularly intelligent. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions, but the vast majority are not exactly functioning at a high cognitive level. It's just not always a career choice that appeals to the intellectually gifted, on occasion. Have we reached a point where being transparent is officially more marketable than being natty? No, we're not even close. Look how many of the fake natties still exist. And look at the doses. Realistically, when a lot of the guys admit and they come forward, do you really think they're being transparent? Do you really think some of these guys, when they do admit what they do, are giving you their real doses? I don't think so. Those top guys at Sheffield are not natty. I'm not sure what Sheffield is. But how many people actually believe them? I have to think not many, other than a few true naive kids. True. I'm just saying some of occasionally the doses, people throw out. Oh, I use a little test, a little anabar. It's like, yeah, I'm looking at a dude and I'm like, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say anybody who's got 20 pounds of muscle on me is probably using more than 200 tests and a little anabar. Just statistically speaking. It was a big powerlifting meet a couple weeks ago, Russell. Oh, okay, gotcha. I don't think most of the top IPF guys are natty. Why would they be? Jefferson, most Nike kids do not pay. And that's also a good point because Jefferson, here's why. Because they get views and engagements. So you're thinking only in terms of selling products, right? But what about the social media? Okay. So let's say that you are an influencer, and let's say your Facebook, your YouTube, and your Instagram are all monetized. And you have 500,000 followers on all three. Do you really care that it's kids that aren't buying anything that are engaging your stuff? I mean, $1 million is $1 million, whether you sell products or not. Now, if you're selling coaching, I get it. That is not your niche. If you're selling coaching, you want people who are over 30 as your target audience, right? But if you're selling clicks and likes, does the algorithm that's paying you $1 million a year really care if it's 18-year-olds or 35-year-olds pressing the like button? Jefferson, why would you think that? I don't think you know how much money people are really making on social media. Right? I don't think you know how much they're making. Right. All right, guys. I'm about to wind this down. I'm going to hop off here and get some other stuff done. I'll talk to you next time.